Hi, welcome to the Campus Election Engagement Project's Getting Started training. We are so excited to have you, and we welcome you to the CEEP family. Let's get started. Before we get started, here's a few things we're hoping you will take away from this training. Each of our trainings come with a few learning outcomes to give you an idea if this is a training you think will be helpful. By the end of this training, we hope that you will take away these learning outcomes. Students will learn how to register voters in their state. Students will learn how to create a brand and begin their voting initiative on campus. Students will learn what CEEP is and does, and what role their fellowship plays in our organization and the voter engagement movement as a whole. The Campus Election Engagement Project, or CEEP, helps colleges and universities use their institutional resources to get students involved in elections, helping them register, volunteer, learn about candidates and issues, navigate voting laws, and turn out the polls. The goal is to assure that students fully participate in democracy as voters, educators, and citizens while at school and throughout their lives. CEEP has a comprehensive roadmap we call 7 Key Ways, which outlines a systematic approach to building campus and student involvement. With support and training from our CEEP state directors, CEEP fellows take action using 7 Key Ways and other resources as guides. By this point, you all should have received an introductory training on CEEP by your state directors. This should have covered what is CEEP, the fellowship commitment, and paperwork. This is one of the 3 national trainings that you will receive on the topic of your choice. Before we get into the logistics of voting, it's important to start with knowing who a voter is. In the United States, in order to participate in an election, regardless of what state you reside, you must be a citizen, and you must be 18 years old on Election Day. So what does that mean? It means that if you are 17 years old prior to your state's registration deadline, but will be 18 on Election Day, you can register to vote. As a CEEP Fellow, your job is to enable and encourage all students on your campus to exercise their right to vote, make their opinions count, and participate in our democracy. To do this, you should build momentum and commitment through person-to-person conversations, educational and motivational events, information sharing, and getting people to the polls. In this section, we'll be covering how to become voter ready, the registration form online and paper form, where to register to vote, and how to create voter visibility. CEEP will provide you with useful resources and successful case studies to assure your success and help you have fun while engaging your campus. Registration processes and procedures vary by state. Your state director will go through a training with you on your state's election laws and guidelines. Pay close attention to this information as it is your job to become an expert on these laws. By the end of your training, you should know the following: critical dates and deadlines for in-person registration, what your state laws are about online voter registration, what, if any, identification is needed to take with you to the polls, if your campus identification meets the state law criteria. Check in with your state director and relevant government agencies to learn about other rules and resources, forms, and registration dates. Find out about any known local issues or voting challenges specific to your area. Determine early on how you plan to distribute your registration information. Will you use a direct link to the Secretary of State's website? Does your campus use Rock the Vote or Turbo Vote? Or will you consider using QR codes? Your state director should have gone through a training about the voter registration laws in your state. If you have any questions about it, please ask your state director. They are a great source of information and guidance. Be sure to check the election information you get regularly with your Secretary of State's website or your state director. Sometimes the election laws in your state can change depending on the legislation in the state legislature, the decisions being made by the courts, or external events. That's why it's important for you to stay up to date on any pressing issues, close races, or changes in election law in your state. The sooner you know about a change in your state's voter registration process, the sooner you can react and adapt to the situation. Registration can be done by using a paper form or online in some states. It's important to know that each state has their own voter registration laws, so be mindful of where students are trying to register. For example, if a student is going to school in Pennsylvania, but is an Ohio resident and wishes to vote in Ohio, they would need to use an Ohio registration form. While each state has their own specific registration form, the federal government also has a form that can be used. U.S. citizens can register or update their voter information, but it is important to follow the state-specific instructions listed for the state they're registering in. For all registration purposes, it is critical that you double and triple check the location the form should be mailed to. Local forms can be dropped off to your Board of Elections. While each state has their own specific registration form, the federal government also has a form that can be used. U.S. citizens can register or update voter information, but it is important to follow the state-specific instructions listed for the state you're registering in. For all registration purposes, it is critical that you double and triple check the location the form should be mailed to. Local forms can be dropped off to your city or county election authority. Depending on current elections, these may need to be dropped off by a specific time and date. Some states even have online voter registration. Check your state's laws to see if you can register to vote online. Many states also give you the ability to see if you are already registered through the same portals. This is great for students who don't know if they're registered to vote or not. Either way, vote.org is a great tool to use to direct students to their specific voter registration form, whether it's an online or paper form. Your Secretary of State's website is also a great resource to find your state's voter registration online platform. As a college student, you're in a transition period of your life. You might live in the dorms on your college campus, at home taking online classes, or in off-campus housing. That means you are able to choose between voting with your home address or voting with your college address. Each state allows you to choose, but you can only vote at one of these addresses. Students choosing to register to vote with their campus address can vote in person during the academic year. They must register to vote with their physical address. This is important to keep in mind for students living in residence halls, who may have P.O. boxes to receive mail. When holding voter registration events for residence halls, it is helpful to have a list of physical addresses, as they would be recognized by the Board of Elections. Students choosing to register to vote with their home address may be required to vote absentee or vote by mail if it is available in their state. Stress to these students that their registration dates, deadlines, and candidates may be different than the on-campus voter information that is being provided. If more guidance is needed to help your students on which address to use, contact your state director. CEEP, and most likely your school, have the IRS tax status called 501c3. With this status, CEEP and its representatives may not support or oppose any particular candidate or political party. Though nonpartisanship means refraining from endorsing or campaigning on behalf of a particular party or candidate, nonprofits can do advocacy work and can facilitate participation in elections. For a list of approved third-party partners and allies, please visit our website at campusselect.org. Beyond legal requirements, because CEEP works institutionally with partner schools, we have to make a particular effort to encourage the participation of everyone on campus, whatever their beliefs. Beyond the legal requirements, because CEEP works institutionally with partner schools, we have to make a particular effort to encourage the participation of everyone on campus, whatever their beliefs. That being said, here's a brief list of some of the things that being nonpartisan looks like. Register people to vote no matter who they are. Educate voters about how, when, and where to vote. Provide nonpartisan voter guides and sample ballots. Host or recommend attending candidate forums. Invite candidates to attend events. Get out the vote. Now, here's a few things that nonpartisan does not look like. It does not look like endorsing a candidate, registering people to vote or not registering people to vote based on their political affiliation. It doesn't look like telling someone whom to vote for, rating parties or candidates, or giving any sort of preferred access or resources to any party, candidate, or group. Throughout the semester, you may want to hold an event in which some candidates talk about their positions and issues. This is a great way to learn about the people who are running for office and the things they care about. However, you must have candidates from both of the major parties present in order to maintain your nonpartisanship. Third parties and independent candidates are encouraged but not required. So how do you get started in your voter engagement semester? The first thing you need to do is complete your engagement plan. Every fellow is provided an engagement plan at the beginning of the semester. This plan will guide you through your engagement work. This plan, along with your campus advisor and state director, will help you create goals for the semester, identify some steps to take to achieve those goals, and create a timeline to make everything happen. Update this engagement plan regularly so that you can keep track of your engagement activities and institutional project all in one place. Here's an example of the engagement plan. The plan includes sections for each of the 4 or more activities you will be required to hold, as well as a section to plan your overall institutional project. You will be required to complete this engagement plan at the beginning of the semester, submit it to your state director, and use it throughout the semester to track your progress. Before creating a plan, first check with your campus advisor to make sure a plan is not already in motion. Your campus advisor is the gatekeeper to important campus plans and should always be consulted before taking action. Review your engagement plan regularly. Once a plan is made, create a timeline for the tasks, tactics, and strategies leading to the ultimate goal. Check back in with your team to report on successes and discuss what isn't working, adapting the plan as necessary. You can find some sample engagement plans in the Fellows Google Drive. To help you create your own engagement plan, you'll be provided a couple of engagement plan resources. You'll be provided a sample engagement plan using the current engagement plan template, as well as several past engagement plans from past fellows. You will also have access to step-by-step instructions that describe how the engagement plan is meant to help you in your work. If you have any questions about these resources or the plan itself, please reach out to your state director. As you begin your engagement plan, you'll want to make sure your goals are SMARTer. S, specific in what you hope to accomplish. M, measurable. Decide what measures you'll use to assess how well you've accomplished them. For example, how many voters do you hope to register? How many volunteers will you need to achieve this goal? A, attainable. Make sure your goals are attainable and you have all the tools and resources to reach that goal. R, relevant. The goal should align with the overall CEEP mission and be relevant to your requirements as a fellow. T, time-bound. Timing should be appropriate to the size of your action. When your timeline is realistic, you'll be motivated to finish your task without becoming overwhelmed. E, evaluate. Evaluate your plan often. Measuring the impact will help your project live well beyond its fellowship and hopefully continue to educate and inform your online community. R, reward. Reward yourself and your team for all the hard work you've done. Voter engagement is a marathon, not a sprint, so you must celebrate the small successes throughout the semester. For those who might be new to event planning, here's a couple initial steps to get you started. First, create your event. This is your time to be creative and brainstorm some fun events for your campus. Some things to include in your brainstorming is a title, an event activity, and what you would like to offer, whether it's voter registration, voter education materials, or something else. Next, you'll need to find a space to host your event. Is your event virtual or in person? What locations are available to you that are easily accessible to students? Then, you'll need to find some volunteers. You can ask your friends or start reaching out to some partner organizations for volunteers. Acquire any necessary tools or items you'll need to make your event a hit. And lastly, advertise, advertise, advertise. Your marketing strategy will be the difference between a 10-person event and a 100-person event. You can use some traditional methods like flyering or speaking at club meetings, or you can utilize social media and class-wide emails. Check out our digital organizing training for more information on how to engage students on social media. The next step in creating your engagement plan is creating your timeline. You have some event ideas in mind. Now you need to find a date for them. This is a task we recommend you to do with your campus advisor because they might know dates on your campus that work better than others. Here are a few things to keep in mind while creating your timeline. Think about your campus's traditions and celebrations. Maybe there's a competition or celebration that your campus does every year. See if you can tag your event alongside these events, or maybe you could table at an already existing event. That will increase your numbers with minimal effort since students will already be there. At CEEP, we also recommend that you do events for days relating to voting as well. Some of those days include Constitution Day, National Voter Registration Day, Vote Early Day, and Election Day. If you aren't sure when those days are, ask your state director. Things change throughout the semester. Sometimes events get canceled, or even sometimes your state laws might change during the election season. You will need to be flexible, and so will your engagement plan. Review your plan often to ensure your success throughout the semester, even if a few curveballs are thrown your way. If you have any questions about moving forward and revising your engagement plan throughout the semester, ask your state director. The last thing we want to talk about is how to measure your success throughout the semester. As you're creating your social media campaign and planning and implementing your events, it's important to measure the impact that you're having on your campus. We at CEEP have a couple tools to help you do that, particularly the activity tracker. The activity tracker is an important piece of your fellowship. All activities must be recorded here. Numbers are important, so you can monitor your progress and so CEEP can report the cumulative impact of your work nationwide. Your CEEP State Director will help you work with our reporting tools, which will be easy if you consistently document your events, contacts, attendance, outreach, etc., and report them as they happen. Build these measures right into your engagement plan and revise. The activity tracker will be your one-stop shop for recording all of the hours you put towards this fellowship. We expect you to complete a new entry into the activity tracker every time you complete an engagement event. You will be expected to complete at least one activity in each of the major categories: voter registration, voter education, and getting out the vote. For more information on the activity tracker, check out the activity tracker resources. Here's a couple of questions you will see on the activity tracker. We cover the basics like your name, the day the activity took place, the type of event you held, as well as several basic metrics of how many people you reached with your activity. We'll ask you how many people attended your activity, how many volunteers helped you, and how many people you registered to vote if you offered voter registration. The activity tracker is also an opportunity for you to reflect on your activity. You'll have an opportunity to describe your event in further detail. Please include as much detail as possible during this portion. This helps us to understand what your activity looked like and the kind of impact you're having on campus. You'll also have the space to reflect on your activity, what you liked, what you didn't like, what you would do differently, and so on. These sections help us understand how we can better help you in your future events. Ideas for activities can also be found in your fellowship handbook or on the CEEP website. To access the activity tracker, please visit our website, campuselect.org. In the top right-hand corner of the page, to the left of the search bar, you will find a button that says Activity Tracker. Click it. It will take you to a page where each state will have their own unique tracker. Select your state, find your name, and enter your activity. If you have questions, please ask your state director. And lastly, if you have any questions about anything we went over today, please reach out to your state director or contact our fellowship director, Jessica at campuselect.org. Thank you all for joining us. Be sure to check out and follow us on social media or join our Slack channel for conversations and idea sharing with our fellows all across the U.S. Once again, welcome to CEEP.